Well, through his talk, especially for those of you that are new or maybe don't understand it completely, he's going to be touching on that as well. So make sure you get a good, thorough understanding of that. This individual has been with ACN for 7.5 years. So he started with us and built when the times weren't as good as they are today. He was one of the key leaders that helped us get this company to where we are today. He's been a top producing RVP for the last 5 years. He has tens of thousands of customers that he gets paid on every single month. He's approaching 10,000 representatives in his organization, and he's a consistent President's Council member, which means he's the leader of the leaders, and he is doing every single day what he is teaching. Please help me welcome to the stage a great friend of ours, an incredible leader, a very powerful individual, RVP Mr. James Dentley.
Thank you. Come on. Yes. I got you. Woo! Hello, ACN. How's everyone doing? Are you guys excited? Outstanding. You know, there's an ancient saying that says that 1 out of every 3 people in the world, just 1 out of every 3, is absolutely breathtakingly handsome beyond belief or drop-dead gorgeous. 1 out of every 3. So right now, before I get started, I want you to take a very good look to the person to your left and to your right. Look them up and down. It might be at their feet. Look down. And since it's neither one of them, it's got to be you, right? Give yourselves a round of applause. Woo. You know, this has been a phenomenal day this weekend. These national events are always incredible. All of us just love coming out to the national events where the family members get a chance to come back together, introduce brand new people, and there's a lot of excitement in the room. And during the course of the day, you got some powerful information earlier today, and we took a lunch break, and then all the emotion that came with the regional vice president's promotions. I feel that right now I have a need to find out if I have everybody's undivided attention. So I want to try something, but I have to ask you guys a question. Can I count on your participation? Can I count on your participation? All right. How do you spell the word spot? O-T. Okay, let's try it again. How do you spell the word spot? S-P-O-T. What does that spell? How do you spell spot? What does that spell? How do you spell spot? And what does that spell? And when you come to a green light, what do? Stop. Okay, we've got about 40% of your attention. 2,000 people just stopped at a green light. Give yourselves a round of applause. I'm going to talk about the journey to financial freedom. The journey to financial freedom. And what I like to do is share with you some concepts, some principles that I have learned through different situations that have happened in my own life, as well as certain things that I've experienced through different trainings and different mentors that I've had through the course of my ACN career. Now, I want you guys to understand, when you look at that journey to financial freedom, it all begins with the way that you decide to think. You know, as a man thinketh, so is he. Isn't that true? As a woman thinketh, so is she. Isn't that true? See, we are what we think about the most. So if we're able to control our thoughts, then in turn, we can control our destiny. Our president, Greg Provenzano, taught us something a long time ago. He said, your thoughts over time will turn into your words. Words over time will turn into actions. Repeated actions will develop habits. Habits will equal your character, and your character equals your destiny. Because in life, you get who you are. So, in order to get more, we have to what? We have to be more. Does that make sense? Now, looking at just the background of many regional vice presidents and my personal friends and even my personal story, I want to just think about one concept. Why is it that one person can make $1 million and lose it, make it again and lose it, make it again and lose it, and another person can barely balance a checkbook? See, I believe that most people are held back by the constraints of their past experiences, by the things that we reference from things that happened with us long ago in our lives that we carry them back into the future. And if we just bring them with us on a present, day-by-day basis, ultimately it will affect our future because we keep bringing our past with us. Does that make sense, everybody? So as I share these concepts, I want you to listen to this information just as if I was asking you to try on a pair of shoes. You don't have to particularly like the shoes. You don't have to buy the shoes. You don't have to accept the shoes. But by the end of the conversation, if you like the shoes that I give you, is my gift to you. Fair enough? You see, I realized that when I got started in this company, I had a lot of baggage. Because I'm married to a wonderful woman by the name of Monica. Those who know her, love her. Give her some love. But you know, this is my second marriage. This is my last marriage because truly it is to death do us part. And being married previously, after that marriage ended, I carried my first wife around with me everywhere I went. And every relationship I went to, she was right there with me. If I went to go on a date, come and jump in. They had to scoot in between her. And if anyone tried to tell me that I look ridiculous carrying around this baggage of my ex-wife, I would have told you that you're absolutely incorrect because you haven't lived and you haven't experienced what I have experienced. Does that make sense? So with my ex-wife, I learned to walk naturally. I learned to run. I learned to ride a horse. I learned to ski. And I'm walking around with this baggage. And every time I got close and in a relationship, it always got in the way. But it didn't end there. You know, growing up as a kid, you know, we go through issues where people tell us that we're not smart enough. And we pick up some more stuff. So here we are on our journey. And you know, it's so interesting because my friend Chuck Hall said something to me in New York. He said, why is it that someone who lives paycheck to paycheck, when you ask them if they're open to an opportunity, they say, it depends. And someone else who is financially independent, they say, I'm always open. Because the depends people always are carrying their stuff. So here I am carrying about the baggage. You know, nobody invited you to the prom. They told you weren't good enough, too tall, too short, too fat, not smart. And we carried this stuff around. Does that make sense? And it didn't end there. Then it was that job. The job where you got passed over for the promotion. And you just start draping it on. And it's amazing how good you can look going to work every day, dressed up, hair done, carrying around your stuff. Just carrying it around. And then you know there was a big one, the biggest one of all. My mother didn't love me. Now, here you go. Now what happens is that here you come Monday morning, the day after tomorrow, and you're motivated, you're inspired, you just left a international training. Your cape is blowing, you're empowered by information, empowered by the belief that is built through the ACN opportunity. And you have the audacity to go to these people and say with your cape blowing, are you open to an opportunity? And those people look back at you and say, it depends. So how do we move forward? It begins again by the way we choose to think. It depends on the visions that we have. I believe everything in life happens 2 times. First the inner, then the outer. First the thought, then the thing. First the mental, and then the physical. You know, McFadden was right. He said, you have to be RVP way before you get there. Does that make sense? As you think, so you are. Does that make sense? I'm gonna make it sense. It's about having a vision, not eyesight, but mind sight. See, vision is a very extraordinary thing because that is the ability to see your world the way it ought to be, not be stuck in the way that it is. There's a story about a young kid by the name of Johnny. Johnny's in 3rd grade and he's in art class, and he's drawing a picture. His teacher peers over the shoulder and says, Johnny, what are you doing? He said, teacher, I'm drawing a picture of God. The teacher looks back at Johnny and said, well, Johnny, nobody knows what God looks like. Johnny looks back and said, they will in a minute. It's about having vision. See, dreamers create the world. Everyone enjoys the greatness of all dreamers. See, the only thing about a dream, if you keep that dream in the inside, it can get you through the nightmares that occur on the outside. It's important to have a dream. There's a story of two young men who were working in an orange grove in the hot sun of Florida. At the end of the day, they would walk home, and as they walked home, they came across a hill and decided to rest under a shade tree, and both of these friends fell asleep. So they fell asleep under the shade tree, and one friend woke up first, and he shook his other buddy and he said, wake up, wake up. I had the most incredible dream. His friend said, wait a minute, what are you talking about? He said, I dreamt that I had 1,000 orange groves. His friend said, 1,000 orange groves? Wow. If you had 1,000 orange groves, would you give me half of them? He said, no way, I wouldn't give you half of my orange groves. He said, 1,000 orange groves, would you give me 100? Can't have 100. 1,000 orange groves, will you give me 10? He said, I wouldn't even give you one orange. His friend looked back at him and said, I can't believe you're this selfish. I can't believe that you would get 1,000 orange groves and you wouldn't give me one orange. Why not? His friend looked back and said, because you're too lazy to dream for yourself. It's about the dream. You know, the dreamers in life, the people who take those dreams and look at them, write them down and make them goals. A goal is simply a dream and a vision with a deadline. Take your dreams, put your heart on paper. The thinkers are put it in ink. Put it in front of you, make it real. Give those dreams life. I mean, you think of somebody like Lou Holtz, who at 28 years old, his wife was pregnant, he was going paycheck to paycheck, could not pay his mortgage. He wrote down 182 of his goals. One was to be the coach of Notre Dame and to win a national championship. Now, out of 182 of those goals, he's already accomplished 86 of them. And he's still going strong. Am I making sense? I mean, you look at Jim Carrey, famous actor. He walked up and down Hollywood. He wrote a $10 million check to himself well before he became famous. And he walked down with that $10 million check in his pocket. Now he makes $20 million per film. It's about having visions. It's about having goals. It's about living a dream. You hold on to the dream. The poet wrote to follow those dreams wherever they may lead and never get distracted by less worthy deeds. Remember to shelter them and nourish them. Help them to grow. Let your heart hold them down deep where dreams go. Follow your dreams. Pursue them with haste. Remember that life is too precious and too fleeting to waste. And if we follow those dreams, then all our days through, the ACM dream that we follow will keep coming true. Follow those dreams. So how do we begin, James? It's not good enough just to think big thoughts. It's not, you got to take action. But how do you begin to take action? I believe, first of all, we have to manage the conversation between our two ears. We have to learn to talk to ourselves. How many people in the room right now will admit you talk to yourself? But you know what? Isn't talking to yourself an act of a crazy person? I mean, you've been downtown in every major city and you see people talking to themselves, isn't that true? And you avoid these people because these people must be nuts. They're talking to themselves and arguing with themselves. And it's important to talk to yourself, but what is the conversation about? Now, I can validate the fact that most of us are embarrassed to talk to ourselves because let me ask you this question. How many people have ever been in a car, driving along, and you were talking to yourself? Raise your hand. And the moment somebody drove up next to you, you act like you were singing. So loud. Because it is not normal and natural to talk to yourself. But Carter G. Woodson said that every now and again I must talk to myself because sometimes I'm in a need for an intelligent conversation. So when you talk to yourself, are you going to say things that build you up or things that tear you down? Things that build your spirit or things that destroy? It's about empowering yourself with inner conversations. You know, I told this story a few times, and it's a story of an eagle. And an eagle always builds its nest high up in the perch. And when an eagle has babies, the mother eagle begins to put thorns and glass in the nest. So when the babies sit down, their butt hurts. And that idea is that maybe the kids won't stay home too long and get out the nest. Now, parents, you cannot try this at home because eagles do not have 900 numbers. However, As an eagle sits in that nest, even in that discomfort, they have comfort. Why? Because the mother still comes back, puts a wing around them and provides warmth, feeds that eagle, because the eagle now has benefits. So there we sit up in that nest, and our butt hurts. And then one day the mother eagle flies out and never comes back. And we sit there. And then we have a dilemma because time goes on and we haven't eaten. So now we have a second problem. We're hungry and our butt hurts. Whew. So we're rocking. Well, mom's got to come back. I mean, we're telling mom, we're calling mom everything, right? And then nighttime comes and then we have another issue. It's so high up in there, the air is thin, and now we're cold. Whew. We're hungry and our butt hurts. And we sit in that nest. And we say, look, I got to go for it. I mean, nobody's coming back to feed me. It's been 2 days now. If it's got to be, it's up to me. And the eagle looks and says, I can do it. I saw other eagles fly out the nest. I can make it. And the eagle looks at the edge of that nest and see how far the drop is. And no matter what religious denomination that eagle is, when the eagle looks down, the eagle says, oh, crap. So now the eagle's scared. The eagle's hungry. The eagle's cold. So now it's time for the conversation. But we have the conversation that builds you up. See, at adversity, champions are born. At adversity is where you are built. It is never what you go through, only what you grow through. It doesn't matter how many times you fall down. It just matters that you keep getting up. Does that make sense? So the eagle sits in that nest. And the eagle starts talking to itself. And I like the story that we all learned as kids called The Little Engine That Could. And when the little engine was faced with that mountain that he couldn't think it climbed, the little engine started talking to itself. What did it say? I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. And the eagle sits back in the nest and says, I'm an eagle. I'm a champion. I was born to be great. God put me and said I was somebody. Said that I was set apart. Said that I was born with dominion over the world. I can handle it. And the eagle starts rocking, and that's that double dutch thing coming in. The eagle starts going. And the eagle says, I'm going for it. The eagle says, ah! And that's the noise the eagle makes when it's, ah! And on the way down, some wind gets under the eagle's wings and gives the eagle a little lift. And one stretch of their wings, the eagle takes flight with Chesapeake, like the kings and the queens of the sky that they were always born to be. And later on, when that eagle has reached RV, SVP, the eagle sits and reflects and says, you know what? I've been sitting in that nest so long. I was afraid. I was cold. I was hungry. And why didn't I fly out of here a long time ago? You are those eagles. It is time to fly. It's about taking action. It's about being consistent. It's about making a commitment. It is about work ethic. Solomon, one of the wisest people in the world, said, examine the ways of the ant and be wise. Just work. Just work. No matter what happens, don't look to the left, don't look to the right. Just go to work. And if you go to work and do the things that have been taught from the stage this morning and tomorrow, then you will be successful. Why? Because a law of large numbers will never fail those who work. It's about going forward at all times. When adversity comes, you march forth. Death will happen in your life. You march forth. If it doesn't happen to you, march forth. Does that make sense? Are you with me? Okay. Because with these principles, when you come to our compensation plan that the founders have put in place, then there's no way to lose. And I want you guys just to understand one thing from the bottom of my heart. ACN, when I got involved in this company, the 7th level was 2.5%. They increased it to 4. Then they increased it to 5, then 6. In January, it kicks in at 7%. You look at the TCAP bonus structure, and you look at everything that's on the table, the possibility to understand if you pay the price, then you'll be taking care of the rest of your life and make a difference in the lives of your children's children. I think at this point, ACN deserves a resounding round of applause because this is the deal. This is the deal. Outstanding. Now, thank you. Thank you, ACN. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about compensation, but I want you to understand, even though if you've heard this before, you must master the mundane. You must listen to this over and over and over. If it's your very first time, take notes. If you've heard it a million times, take notes. Because when the teacher is ready, when the student is ready, the teacher then shall appear. The first thing you have to realize is that you are in business for yourself, but not by yourself. You keep all the equity in everything that you create. But better than that, you get a chance to leverage your time. For the busy professional, for the housewife, or someone who's raising the kids, for someone who's in college, you can leverage your time. And if you don't understand leverage, learn leverage. But stay in until you get leverage. Does that make sense? Now, for every customer that we personally acquire as independent representatives, we earn between 2 all the way up to 8% of that collective billing of those telecom customers. Now, that 2 to 8% is on a sliding scale, but think about it. Once you get to $12,500 per month, you're looking at $1,000 per month passive residual income on top of what you already earn. Now, could that be significant? And if you're explaining this to someone, you can simply break it down like this. Well, look, if you just had $300 per month and you tacked it onto your house note, could you get a better house? Can you pay off your home early? If you took another $300 per month and put it onto your car note, can you get a nicer car? Of course you could. Can you pay for your car early? Can you get a second car? Can you get some insurance on the daggone car you got? You take another $400 per month and you add that into your child's educational fund or your retirement fund, does the future look a little brighter? Absolutely. Now, the breakdown is simple. It's basically once you get up to $2,000 in billing, it starts moving. And it's illustrated on the screen, just about every $2,000, it moves up until you get to $12,500 and you cap at 8%. Does that make sense? Now, overriding residual income simply means that you're going to get an override on levels 1 through 7 until you reach the position of regional vice president. You're going to get 0.25% 1 through 5, 1% on 6, and then in the USA, you're going to get 7% beginning January 1st. In Canada, you're going to get 6%, and you're going to get 5% over in Europe. Does that make sense, everybody? Your starting positions, we've all heard them. What are the starting positions? Team trainer, very good. Customer representative and team trainer. Now, first of all, don't devalue customer representative. That is a starting position. It doesn't matter where you started, that matters that you start, and more importantly, where you end up. Does that make sense? Because quiet as kept, I did start as a customer representative. Oh, the silence in the room. I didn't understand the compensation plan. Okay, I didn't have $500. Does that make sense? Okay, so it does matter where you end up. There are 3 positions that you earn from there, which are executive team trainer, 4 positions, team coordinator, regional vice president, and then senior, stupendous regional vice president, senior vice president. As an executive team trainer, you must have a total of 20 personal customers of any type and have introduced 3 individuals who have met their minimum customer requirements. Once you do that, the computer promotes you to team trainer, the executive team trainer. Now, to get qualified for those positions, a person can have 6 long-distance customers or 8 customers of any type. As a team coordinator, you must have 3 separate organizations that have 200 customers in each organization. Regional vice president has 5 independent organizations that have a team coordinator somewhere in that organization. And then senior vice president, you have to have 8 organizations with a team coordinator, but out of those 8, 3 of them have to have a regional vice president. Does that make sense? Now, let's look at customer acquisition bonuses. Now, why is that significant? Because monthly income, passive residual is awesome, but people are accustomed to getting checks weekly. Would you agree with that? So for the people who need weekly income, it is there and available. Again, to receive these bonuses, you have to have 6 long-distance customers or 8 customers of any type. Now, let's just say your first position is team trainer, executive team trainer, team coordinator, regional vice president, then SVP. Let's look at the CAB structure. When you personally, as the team trainer, are qualified with your minimum required customers, and you introduce someone like me to the company, and I get qualified as a team trainer with my minimum required customers, how much do you make? You make $50, right? Now, but if you sponsor me into the opportunity and I do not acquire those customers, how much do you make? Zero. Is everybody clear with that? Now, if I get those customers on my 31st day, how much do you earn? Zero. The customers required must happen within 30 days, not a month, 30 days. Is everybody clear with that? And just as a reminder, remember that these bonuses are paid when a team trainer meets their minimum minimum customer requirements in their first 30 days of the business. RVP benefits, annual vacation getaway, 1.5% below the 7th level, but then we've got the promotions. I mean, we look at our promotions. First of all, are the promotions awesome? How many people plan on getting promotions? Outstanding. Now, boy, I am sweating up here. That's okay, I might lose some weight. Now, first promotion, team cab. As an executive team trainer, 3 team trainers come in your business open line, not under any other executive team trainer, in a calendar month, and you also must hold that position on the first day of that month. Now, with this new promotion, these people can get qualified with their minimum customers, not with just 6 long-distance customers, but 4 energy customers and 4 long-distance. Is that awesome? Did that help people in the energy market? Outstanding. As a team coordinator, illustrated on the board. Now, I know you've seen this over and over and over, but this is a brand new compensation program. And you've got to understand, as a team coordinator, 10 team trainers get in your open line organization that meet their customer requirements within their first 30 days of their start date. 10, you will get not only your customer acquisition bonuses, but also a $1,000 team cab bonus. And that can carry you all the way up to $20,000 per month in additional team cab bonuses. Am I making sense? Also, we have additional bonuses. $500 for any person that gets started and reaches the position of executive team trainer in 30 days. And I'm going too fast, so let's back up one. Let's just say your energy promotions. How many people are in energy markets? Are you guys excited? As an energy promotion, 10 customers that are connected on energy, connected customers, you're going to get additional $100. You take that from 10 to 20, you're going to get additional $200, or a total of $300. You take that to 40, you're going to get an additional $300, a total of $600 for 40 connected energy customers. Is that awesome? Okay. Now, success comes with phase 1 activity. What is that? That means you want to actively, continuously, all through your HCN career, even when you reach regional vice president and above, your role is to acquire customers, enroll new people into the opportunity, and help them acquire customers and enroll others into the opportunity. It's all about duplication. But true success comes, your true success is going to come when you help other people reach those bonuses. Because I want to tell you something, if you're an ETT and you want to be a TC, or you're a TC and you want to be an RVP, if you help those people get those bonuses, they'll be accountable. Because how many people think it's a little bit of incentive if somebody has $3,000 to $5,000 on the line that they'll be out there working with their people so they can get those bonuses? How many people agree with that? You see, it is driven to go with the philosophy of the company. When you help as many people get what they want, you always get what you want. Does that make sense? Now, what does all this mean when you put it together? Where you have a compensation plan that's a work of art. You are the company that reeks integrity, a company second to none, where the founders understand because they've been in the seats that we've been in with other companies. We are in a position now to take everything to the next level. How many people are in? So what is it going to take? It's really going to take for us to discover what our why is. Why? What is our purpose? Now, there's a story of a gentleman by the name of Henry Peterson. He played football for Alabama University. And Henry Peterson, he would go to practice, and even though he never played in the game, his dad always came and sat in the stands to support him. And then right before the big game between Alabama University and Auburn, Bear Bryant was all excited about him, and this was his rival. Henry Peterson called his coach and said, "Coach, I'm afraid I won't be able to suit up for the game. My father has passed away, and I must go home and take him back to be with the family." The coach, being a dad himself and being a dad to his players, said, by all means, our prayers and our blessings are with you. Go home and be with your dad and your family. 2 days before the game, Henry Peterson called the coach back up. He said, "Coach, I changed my mind. I just thought about it, and my father would really want me to play this game. It's a big game. He wants me to be here. I want to be there with my team." The coach said, "Son, you need to go home and be with your family. We'll handle it." He said, "No, I have to be there. You don't understand. My father would want me to be with my team." So he said, okay, by all means, suit up. The game's tomorrow. I'll be there in the morning. Henry Peterson showed up. He went to the coach. He said, Coach, I got to start this game. I got a feeling something's great going to happen. Put me in. And Bear Bryant had never started this gentleman before. He had never played. And for some reason, he said, you're in. Story unfolds. Henry Peterson goes in first half, runs back 3 touchdowns, almost single-handedly beats Auburn. They blow them out. At the end of the game, everybody's screaming. The team picks up Henry. They take him over to the coach. They drop him down. The coach hugs him. He said, my son, where did you get this talent? Where did you get this ability? I never knew you could do this. And Henry Peterson said, look, coach, you remember sometimes in campus, I would walk around with my dad and we would be arm in arm? And the coach said, yeah, I kind of remember something like that. He said, well, the fact of the matter, coach, is that my father was blind. And today was the first day he got a chance to see me play. It is a story that inspires. You know, I got involved in ACN, and my background, even though it's in restaurant management, I had owned 7 different companies. I'd made a lot of money several times in my life. I was a master on making money and getting broke. I had figured that out. And when I got in ACN, I was just coming off of a divorce, and I was starting my life over. And I got started in this company, just wrote a check on faith, because I had written checks like that before. No money, I got checks, write it. And you know what? I got started May 27th of '94, and June 1st, I wrote my rent check, and the rent check didn't clear. And that was ACN. And that quiet desperation, needing a place to stay, had me going asking people, are you open to an opportunity? Could you do me a huge favor? And we started building a business. And then I had a side business I had started at the same time, and I had this great job, and I had ACN going for me. And then my roommate had someone move in with us, and all of a sudden he started taking checks out of my checkbook. True story. And all of a sudden I found myself with no money. I found myself with a warrant for my arrest because it's illegal to write checks with no money. And you know what? I never forget, when I looked at that business card, I called the police department. They said, well, we'd like you to come turn yourself in. And I didn't have any money and no resources. And being from Chicago, the natural instinct came in that you have to catch me. And I respect that, because that is your job, and my mission is not to be caught. And I moved in with a friend of my sponsors. His name was Charles Dangerfield, rest his soul. And I moved in with Charles, and I was still motivated. I was excited. Why? Because Mike Coopers had told me a story about he and his brother growing up, and what they went through, and what they had to live through, and what they survived, and where they were at and where they were going. And I just held on to Mike Coopers' story as I started building my own, unknowingly to me. And here I am living with Charles, and Charles came to me after a week and he said, James, I got bad news. I said, what is it? He says, we're getting evicted. I'm motivated. I'm positive. My father, see, you got to understand, I was taught to be positive. I was like the little boy who came home from class and said, Dad, I'm afraid I failed my math test. His dad said, no, son, in this house you got to be positive. Then he came back and said, Dad, I'm positive I failed my math test. And here I am, positive James, and we're evicted. Now, I have a Porsche, and I blew the engine in the Porsche, and now a friend of mine ships me a car. It's dented from front to back. The windshield is cracked. I have no ignition. I started with a pair of pliers, and I had to put my finger in the hole to unlock it. And I was coming to your house to do a presentation. So I came early, parked 2 blocks away, and began a journey with my whiteboard to tell your friends that we're going to get rich. All because I was enrolled in a vision of someone else's story as I was building my own, unknownness to me. And here I am doing this daggone thing, and I get me a part-time job, and 2 weeks in, the guy says, I can't pay you any longer. So I said, I'll work for you for free if you let me use your phone. It's very difficult to do 3-way calls without a phone. Would you agree with that? And I'm telling you this because you can make all excuses you want, but they will only serve those people who make them. The only reason why I stayed in the game is so focused, never say and die. 2 reasons. 3, number 1, I was enrolled in Mike's vision. Number 2, I had people around me that were going to do the business irregardless of what happened to me. And number 3, I had an 11-year-old daughter that I had no money, I couldn't see and couldn't talk to. And I wanted to be her dad. I wanted to get in her life. And living in a car, I had a picture on my dashboard. Ken Robinson was there. And I remember borrowing money and just getting a hotel. I remember living in 6 places in 4 months. I remember my nerves were so bad that my skin broke out in hives and I couldn't present, and somebody loaned me money to go see a doctor. True story. And those 6 long months seemed like 6 long years. And then I reached team coordinator, and I never looked back. And I am so thankful for everything that's happened to me. Now, you see, now the world is waiting for your story. See, I want to share that with you because I never really shared that from this stage. But the world is waiting for you. Everybody builds a story. You know, I believe that everybody is born great, but very few people decide to do great things. There's a story of 3 wise men who were retiring. And in their retirement, they were having a discussion on where to hide this thing that they were in charge of. It was called greatness. And one wise man looked at the other and said, I got a great idea. Let's put it at the top of the highest mountain and hide it from man and womankind. Other wise men said, no, they'll figure a way to scale that mountain, they'll get it. The other wise man said, let's put it in the deepest ocean. They'll never find it there. Say, no, they're ingenious people. They'll get it. The last wise man said, I got it. Let's put it inside of them. They'll never find it there. So you see, today is about, and this weekend is about, and this company is about, and you are about digging inside of yourself and pulling out that greatness. Digging inside of yourself and pulling out the thing that you've hidden, the buried, the dreams, the visions that you've had all this time in the closet that have dust on them. And you grab a hold of that greatness by the throat and you start shaking it. Remember the Wizard of Oz? At the end of the story, the witch said, Dorothy, everything you ever needed, you always had it inside. Everybody here has. Turn to your neighbor and say, there's greatness in you. Tell your next neighbor, there's greatness in you. See, everybody has what it takes to succeed. Would you agree with that? But how many people are ready to step up? When times get hard, stand up. I mean, when you get too bad you can't move, reach a hand up, grab on and stand up. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps and make it happen. Live your commitments. Because I guarantee you one thing. If we master the single most important element to this whole equation, and that's love and integrity, and to me they go hand in hand. And integrity begins with, first of all, living your word. And if you're going to live your word, who's the first person we got to live it to? Ourselves. So who's going to be an SVP? Outstanding. If we live our word, folks, so when we run across adversity, how are we going to handle it? When we run across naysayers, how are we going to handle it? When we leave this exciting weekend and get on the plane and somebody just blows our day, when another September 11th happens, how are we going to handle it? Because life is life. Does this make sense? Does it make sense? How are we going to handle it? Turn to your neighbor and say, pass them on by. Everybody say in a loud voice, say, pass them on by. Say it again, pass them on by. So when you run into somebody who steals your dream, what will you do? When you run into somebody who won't give you support, what will you do? When you have those self-doubts or self-defeating conversations, what will you do with them? When nobody believes in you, what will you do? When nobody shows at the briefing, what will you do? When nobody wants to enroll all your friends to talk about you behind your back, what will you do? And when you're riding in that limousine, and you ride down that highway called success, and you look out your window and you see that same moron that said you couldn't do it, you wouldn't be a winner, you won't be an SVP, what are you going to do? God bless you guys. Have a great weekend. Thanks. Thanks, man.